Is your debt causing you sleepless nights? Knock your debt out with Debt KO. And your debt won't be the only thing keeping you up at night. Debt KO, free impartial advice on all your debt. This is Kevin Cassius for IFL TV in association with MTK Global. Delighted, as always, to be joined by Mr. Chris Eubank Jr. How are you, mate?
I'm doing good. I'm good. I'm just got back from a training session with Roy, and yeah, everything's going well.
Okay, we've not heard from you in a while. Well, I haven't heard from you in a while. What's going on with you at the moment? When can we expect to see you out in the ring?
I'm looking to get out in December. That is the goal. I'm just waiting for confirmation from Al Heyman PBC, Showtime. They're going to give me a date and an opponent very soon, hopefully. Should be December. Worst case scenario, January, but I'm pretty sure I'll be able to get back in the ring in December.
What kind of opponents have been mentioned for you for that date, that potential date, Chris?
I mean, it's looking like it's going to be, a big fight. I don't think they're looking to get me a warm up. I think I'm just jumping straight into the deep end. That's what I hope for anyway. But with the way boxing is at the moment, COVID and everything that's going on, it's hard to say for sure. But yeah, I mean, I'm looking for a title fight 100% for my next fight.
Do you need a warm-up fight? I'm not saying you said you're not going to have one, but do you need that? You've not been in action for a little while now, so.
Do I need one?
Just to blow out webs.
It would. I guess it would be nice. Dust off some of the cobwebs because my last fight was nearly a year ago, and that fight was only a round. So it definitely hasn't been the ideal path. The ideal schedule for me over the last year and a half or so. But what can you do with the pandemic? It's like it's out of your control. I would have had some. I'm certain I would have had at least one or two big fights already if it wasn't for COVID. But COVID's put a span in the works for sure. Warm-up fight, no warm-up fight. I just want to get in the ring, man. It's at the point now where I need to fight somebody. And I've been in the gym, I've been training, I've been active with Roy. So it's not one of those things where it's, there may be some cobwebs, but it's not. I've been active, I've been sparring, so I could, if I wanted to, go straight into a top tier fight, and I would be absolutely fine, I believe.
Will your fight in December be at middleweight or super middleweight?
That is a good question, and one that I am hoping to find out as quickly as possible. There are obviously some very big names in the middleweight division and the super middleweight division. If I had to choose, if I could pick, I'd want to fight at middleweight. But with how the market is right now, it's kind of like I'll take whatever I can get. If you can get me a title shot at super middleweight, I'll take it. You can't really afford to be choosy at this stage, because there's so many elements and obstacles to get past. So yeah, we'll see.
Will Roy be in your corner for your fight in December, though?
Yes, Roy is now officially a part of Team Eubank, and I'm officially a part of Team Roy Jones Jr., as you can see. So,
is he officially your head trainer then, or not? Is he?
Yes.
Yes,
he is head trainer, head coach. He'll be the #1 man in the corner for me now going forward in my career.
Who else will be in your corner in your fight for December?
That is yet to be decided. I think I'm going to start employing somebody to wrap my hands. For my entire career, I wrapped my own hands before every one of my fights. And I kind of I screwed my wraps up in my last fight. Luckily, I didn't really have to use my hands because the fight ended in two rounds. But the wraps weren't done great. I used a different type of gauze, and it didn't feel right. And then when I actually took them off after the fight, I just looked at them. I was like, yeah, this isn't good. So I think I'm going to have Floyd's, the guy who makes Floyd's hand wraps. He actually makes the hand wraps that I train in. So he'll build the wrap like a fight wrap, and then you cut it, and then you can put it back on and tape it up. And I train, and I've been doing that for years. I'm going to have him wrapping my hands before each fight now. His name's Bob. And he's also a cut man. So it's very likely that he'll now be in my corner. And then, we've got to decide who else.
Why have you wrapped your own hands throughout your career? For what reason have you done that?
I never found anybody that I liked wrapping my hands. I always wrap my hands before training. I always wrap my own hands, and it just it didn't make sense to me to then go into a fight and then entrust somebody else to do it, because I'd always just wrap my own hands in the gym. So yeah, it was a lot of trial and error, especially in the early days.
Didn't Ronnie
but I got it to where
Didn't Ronnie ever used to wrap your hands? Ronnie Davies, didn't he?
Never.
No.
Never. Ronnie's never wrapped my hands. He has these horrible sausage fingers, and he would never have been able to wrap my hands properly. It's always, I've always only ever wrapped my hands. I think Adam Booth may have wrapped my hands once or twice, not for a fight, but just when I was training with him, and they weren't too bad. But yeah, aside from that, I've always just done my own wraps. So that just transferred over to my fights. And but yeah, now after messing them up in my last fight, I'm gonna get Bob to wrap my hands for all my fights.
What do you think the possibility of you fighting back in the UK next year are?
I don't know. I mean, if they get me a UK opponent, then then I'll fight in the UK. But I'm with an American promotional company, so I would believe that most of my fights are going to be against Americans now, unless they're able to make a big fight with a big UK opponent. So your guess is as good as mine, man. I'm just waiting for the call.
Has Charlo been mentioned recently with Al Heyman or anyone to you?
The Charlo fight was supposed to happen this year. We both fought on the same bill in December last year, and then they were going to build off of that and build the fight for me and him to fight this year. And, obviously it just couldn't happen because no one was able to fight up until recently. And I guess most fighters have now been, the first fight back, they wanted to fight somebody that's, not too dangerous or whatever. Most fighters, some fighters you know. But yeah, so that fight has been pushed back. But I really believe that fight will happen next year for sure, early next year.
How is your relationship developing with Roy Jones? Because it's not a new relationship now.
No, it's not new now. You know, I've spent a serious amount of time with him over the last, well, since February. So yeah, 7 months, 7 or 8 months, with him non-stop at his gym, at his farm, at his house. We're out here in Pittsburgh now, in the middle of nowhere, you know, in some bloody forest. He's got a gym that he trains at, that he's trained at regularly for many of his later fights in his career. He's telling me, like, Jeff Lacey, he trained here, and a bunch of other guys. I think Hopkins, not Hopkins or Calzaghe. But yeah, he loves it out here. He was telling me that he likes being in these secluded areas where there's just no distractions, nothing to take his mind away from the task at hand. And, you know, he has a very big task in Mike Tyson. So yeah, we're out here, and it's not fun. I'm not going to say it's fun. You know, it's a pretty strange area to be in, but it works for him. So we're out here, and he's looking good. He's looking great.
We'll talk about his fight with Mike a little bit later on. But has your dad been out there, Chris?
No, I haven't seen my dad. Yeah, I haven't seen him. Yeah, I don't think I've seen him since my fight in December last year. So
Really?
It's nearly a year now. Yeah, I haven't seen him in about a year now. Coming up to a year. Yeah,
I'm assuming you're in contact with him though regularly.
Yeah, of course. Yeah, we're on the phone and texts and that. But I physically haven't seen him. He was in Louisiana for some time, and now he's back in England. He's actually, I think he had to come back, visa reasons or whatever. But yeah, and obviously I've been here, so hopefully I'll see him, I don't know, towards the end of the year.
Well, by the time this interview goes out, it'll be Saturday in the UK. Obviously, there's a huge fight over in Las Vegas tonight between Terence Crawford and Kell Brook. What chance to give Kell Brook in that, Chris?
You said the fight's tonight?
Well, when this interview goes out, it will be Saturday because it's 11:30 here in England on a Friday night.
Okay.
So by the time this interview goes out, it'll be Saturday.
Right. Okay, yeah.
Tonight, as in Saturday night. Yeah, Kell Brook and Terence Crawford. What chance are you throwing that?
No, I mean, it's the fight. Kell Brook against Crawford it's not a fight, is it really? I mean, Crawford is one of the pound for pound top fighters in the world right now, and Kell Brook is not. So it's not. In my opinion, it's not going to be. It's not a fight. I think it's Crawford's warm up. It's his, it's dusting off the cobweb before he goes and fights. Some of those young guns that are coming up. Teofimo Lopez. Are they in the same weight class?
No, they're at welter, aren't they?
Okay, not Lopez. It was.
You got Errol Spence.
Yeah, they're talking about Errol Spence. So that's a great fight.
Danny Garcia soon.
Yeah,
in a couple of weeks.
That's the fight everyone wants to see. Is Spence against Crawford? I could see. If once they both get past their opponents, I could see that fight happening. At some point early next year, which would be an awesome fight to watch. So yeah, I think that's his That's his warm-up fight before the big one.
Um,
Kell Brooks, but he's not active. You know, he's not active, and I've heard he doesn't live the life. So you know, I'm not really expecting much. But who knows? You know, anything could happen, I guess.
Anything can happen. And obviously, Callum Smith being heavily linked again now with a fight with Canelo, someone who you've been vocal about, Canelo, over the last year or so. So that fight possibly could take place at some point in December now. What did you think about that fight between Smith and Canelo?
I mean, you know, it's a good fight. There's not many guys out there that that want to fight Canelo, that are calling for him or trying to get in the ring with him. So if Smith gets in there, then, you know, the best of luck to him. I don't see him being able to handle Canelo's power and his tenacity, especially after watching the Ryder fight. You know, I feel like Canelo is an advanced version of John Ryder, a much more advanced version. So if Ryder can do what he did against Callum Smith, then I don't see how he has a chance against Canelo. But, you know, all it takes is one punch, and Callum Smith does have power behind his shots. So, you know, I think that would be his only chance, is landing something. Canelo does have a good chin though, so, you know, that's going to be a very tough ask for Callum. But, you know, interesting to watch.
Is that one of your hit list fights for 2021, the Canelo fight still?
Of course, man. The guy has a belt in the WBA middleweight world title, which he shouldn't have, really. You know, if you've got a belt at middleweight, super middleweight, and if you want a belt at light heavyweight, how do you still have a belt at middleweight? He still has it. And so I'm the interim WBA world champion at the moment. So, you know, not only do I want to fight him because he is probably the biggest name out there right now in the sport of boxing, but he has the full version of the title that I'm in line for. So we have to fight. It's not that I want to fight. We have to fight, unless he has to give the belt up.
If I said to you for 2021, you could pick 3 fights, any 3 fights to have, what fights do you pick? If you could pick any 3.
Canelo Alvarez, Gennady Golovkin, Jamal Charlo. Those are the 3 guys that that I think would be the biggest fights for me at this moment. One of them, if not 2 of them, will happen next year, 100%.
You don't put a Saunders in that top 3 of fights that you want for 2021?
No, you can't. He's, you know, there's been too much. There's been too many issues with making that fight over the years, so he's not even in my mindset. That's a fight that obviously a lot of fans want to see, but it's not a fight that I'm thinking about or holding my breath for. If there ever was an opportunity to make it, obviously I would make it, but I'm not now going out of my way to try and get in the ring with him, because it's just, 1, I don't think he wants to fight me, and 2, it's just proved too difficult to make the fight. So that one is just, you know, if it happens, it happens. But he's not in my top 3, no.
Have you not been approached over the last few months about that fight from Hearn or anyone?
No, nothing official. No, never any numbers thrown about. Never any dates. Never any contracts sent over. So, you know, it's if they wanted to fight, they would have said it. Eddie would have messaged me saying, "Listen, Chris, this is what we've got. Do you want to make the Saunders fight happen?" And I haven't had that text. I haven't had that call. I haven't had that email. So, and I know why. They know I just batter him right now. He's been inactive. He's had horrible performances over the last year or two. So now they're throwing him in there with, an old Martin Murray, because that's all he's capable of dealing with right now. You can't throw him in there with a live wire because he'll lose that O. That O will get taken. So it is what it is. They've got to be smart with him until it's his time to cash a check in and go for a big fight, whether that's with me or Canelo. But until that time, he'll keep fighting nobody's really.
But from the three opponents that you mentioned, you're confident one, possibly two, definitely will happen next year for you. You're confident.
One for sure. They have to put me in with Charlo ASAP. That fight was supposed to happen this year, so that fight has to happen next year.
That's a great fight. You and Charlo.
Yeah, it is a great fight. It is a great fight. It's two big personalities, two great boxing styles that would mix very well. That's a big fight. And we're both under the same promotional company, so how could it not happen? We both want to fight, so I don't see how it can't happen. Alvarez is just, it's anyone's guess what he does. He just kind of does what he wants to do, picks and chooses and does what goes in between weights, and hopefully I can pin him down, but that's another fight that, again, it's not something I'm putting all my eggs into, because you just can't. Golovkin, I haven't heard from Golovkin. I know he has a middleweight title, but he's been very quiet over the last year. When was his last fight? He fought was it Dermachenko, the guy who Charlo just beat? Was that his last fight?
Why do I think his last fight was last summer against Steve Rolls? I might be wrong, but he fought.
Yeah, you're probably right.
He fought Steve Rolls the week after Joshua lost to Ruiz at Madison Square Garden. I don't believe, I might be wrong. Someone's going to quote me on this. But I think that was his last fight.
But yeah, he's off the map. He's off the radar. Obviously, he's still a massive draw. I've been saying I want the fight. Don't see anybody else calling his name out. He has a middleweight world title, so that just seems like a natural fight to happen. It would be a massive fight. So I'm going to keep pushing for it. I'm going to keep asking for it. We'll see what happens in 2021.
Mm. But when will you find out, Chris, if you will be definitely fighting this year or not?
There's just no way to answer that question. I've had phone calls and texts for months. You've got some news coming. No news comes. Oh, this guy might be fighting, and then this just goes silent. This pandemic is so tough, and on top of that, PBC, Showtime, Al Heyman. There's so many fighters under that umbrella that it's hard to. They've got to juggle all these different names, and I understand that. I'm only just breaking into the American scene, but a lot of the the top guys have fought now, so it's my turn. So I will be next. I think it will be a matter of weeks before they tell me something solid that I can work off of.
Sorry, just going back to that, what we was talking about, Golovkin, his fight after that was, as you said previously, was against Derevyanchenko. That was after Steve Rolls, so that was his last fight.
Right.
I think it was around maybe October last year.
Right.
So you were right, basically, yeah. Chris, what have you made of all this stuff going on with Deontay Wilder at the minute over Tyson Fury? Have you been keeping tabs on that?
Yeah, I saw some video, and they were showing Tyson's gloves and how they were bending back while he was punching, and there was, there's a big indent in the glove where his hand should have been, and then there was Wilder had like a dent in the side of his head. I don't know if that was photoshopped or if that was really real, but it did look, it looked real, where he had a dent in the side of his head where he was saying that there was some type of egg weight or something in the glove. I mean, the pictures of the floppy glove are very, very strange. But I just don't see how that could help. But I'm not a 6'7" or whatever he is, 6'11" giant. I don't know how. They're different. He's built differently to most other fighters. So what works for him is going to be different to what will work for everybody else. At the end of the day, whether he did or didn't load his gloves, cheat, whatever he's claiming, he lost the fight. He got stopped. Take the L, man. Anything you say, it's just going to make it worse. You're just going to look, you're going to look bad. It's not like it was a really close fight, and the judges gave it to him like a point or two. You got stopped, so you can't, unless there's like proper evidence, and unless they can go back and really investigate, which I don't think they can or will. It's just you're just making yourself look worse. So that coupled with the costume, which apparently burned his legs out before the fight. It's tough, man. You're a world champion. Act like it. Get the rematch. Don't throwing shade and trying to make excuses. It doesn't run.
Yeah, the fight that obviously we are hopeful that does happen next year is between Anthony Joshua and Tyson Fury. It will be the biggest fight in British boxing history ever, probably. So, yeah, you hopeful, or you think that them fights will happen? One, maybe two next year.
So Anthony's got, was it Pulev next?
Pulev on the 12th of December.
Yeah, I mean, there's nobody else. He's literally run out of other guys to fight. So the fight, it just has to happen. There's nobody else. I mean, you can't. Who's he going to fight? Dubois. There's nobody else. Unless you're going to go back and start fighting up and coming guys, he has to fight. He has to fight Tyson, and that would be probably the biggest fight in British boxing history. Which is, it's a crazy thing that's a crazy statement, but it's probably true.
Who's your favour in that right now?
I mean, after they both had awesome performances in their last fights, Anthony is he showed a whole other side to himself in that Ruiz fight. Completely adapted to to the style of Ruiz, showed that he could box, showed that he could change things up, and I was really impressed. And I was impressed with how Fury just completely dominated Wilder with his floppy gloves. You know, just walked him down and bashed him up. I was not expecting that at all. You know, for him to do that with these floppy gloves is even more impressive, in my opinion. If he's not got his full hand in the glove, you know. So both coming off of awesome performances, but I'd have to go with my boy Anthony for sure. I think it's his time. You know, it's his era in the heavyweight boxing. You know, you can't bully him. You can't walk him down like Tyson did to Wilder. Wilder was too small. You know, he bulked up. Tyson, he used his weight and his presence to just shut him down. But you can't do that with Anthony because he's another giant. So that tactic won't work. And Anthony's shown that he can box. You know, he's shown that he can brawl. He has knockout power. He's definitely got more power in his punches than Tyson does. Tyson can be, well, they can both be put down, but Tyson's been put down by guys that are way smaller than Anthony. I remember being there when he got knocked down by was it Cunningham?
Steve Cunningham.
Yeah. You know, that guy probably hits, you know, 50% less than what Anthony does. But the thing about Tyson is he will get back up, which is another admirable trait that he has. He doesn't give up. So yeah, very interesting fight, very exciting fight. But if I was going to pick a winner, I would say Anthony for sure.
Okay, Chris, have you got anything else you'd like to add?
I think we've covered enough for today, Coogan. Out here in Pittsburgh, chilling, about to play the new Call of Duty game. Looking forward to that.
You got yourself a PS5 yet?
I haven't. They're all sold out, but I have a contact. I've done stuff with Xbox and PlayStation in the past, so they might be able to sort me out with one.
What is your dad promoting? Is it Xbox your dad's promoting?
Yes. If you're lucky enough, my dad will come and bring an Xbox to your house,
oh my God,
delivered in an Argus van, with wearing his monocle and everything. That's the deal that's going on right now. I don't know how that's come about, but I just woke up one day and someone had sent me a video, and I said, "Yeah, all right, well, maybe that's my way of getting one."
Maybe
he's obviously got some good friends at Xbox, so we'll see if he can sort me out as well. But yeah, you know, just chilling here, training, just ready for the call, you know. So hopefully December.
Well, hopefully when your fight is confirmed, then obviously nearer the time, we'll grab another word with you if possible, Chris. And yeah, best of luck in the rest of your camp, and hope you get a date soon.
Yeah, I will. Has to. So yeah, as soon as I know, you guys will know.
No problem. Kugan Cassius here with Chris Eubank Jr. for IFL TV. Thank you very much. Is your debt causing you sleepless nights? Knock your debt out with Debt KO. And your debt won't be the only thing keeping you up at night. Debt KO. Free, impartial advice on all your debt.